It is interesting. I notice in culture at the moment that self-love and self-care have in recent years kind of become a little bit buzzwordy, but they're often spoken about without wanting to be too harsh about it in something of a shallow way, that the idea of the extent of self-love or self-care is, well, I've had a rough week, so I'm ordering myself a pizza and putting a movie on. That's self-love. And I'm not saying it isn't self-love, but there's probably not the kind of self-love that's going to lead to a transformative experience of life. There is a rigor to this path of inner work, and that's no more obvious, I think, than when you write about your experiences of depression, your three major experiences of depression, and the most intense periods of inner work and the inner life that you've journeyed through. I was just wondering if you could share your perspective on that with us, because I know it's something that's been so helpful for so many people, is how you were able to make sense of those times of your life.
Sure, I'd be glad to do that. And in fact, the very answer to your question is in the sharing of the experience. When something as devastating as 3 deep dives into clinical depression happens to you, you emerge with the question, how can I make meaning out of this apparently meaningless experience in my life? Because, and you can't, please capitalize and underline the word meaningless, because you're at a point in the depths of depression where each day you're wondering if it's time to end it all. The misery is so profound. And so you come out of that saying, that was meaningless, I guess, unless I can find some way to make meaning out of it. And so, for me, there's so many rich lessons of the experience, rich spiritual lessons, which are totally unavailable to you at the time you're in the experience. It's just the dark night of the soul. It's all the light is extinguished. I used to say that depression is like being lost in the dark, but at its depths, it's more like becoming the dark. And that's a different thing. That's a different image. If you're just lost in the dark, you can still grope around and maybe find a window latch or a shade to raise or a door handle that promises some kind of exit, or at least figure out the space you're in, because there's a difference between you and the darkness. But if you become the dark, there's no way to negotiate it. All hope is gone. In my case, there were just these rare moments when I would sense a little tiny, tiny, tiny spark of life, as if I had spotted, as if I were in the wilderness, and I had spotted a movement way back in the brush that suggested a creature is there. Some form of life is there. That's where I came up with the notion of the shy soul.
Yeah.
Who won't come just because we shout for it to come out. That will in fact scare it away. But if we sit, wait quietly, blend in with the wilderness, don't disturb it, it may eventually put in a little bit of an appearance. We may only catch it out of the corner of our eye, but that will be enough to keep us going another day. So, rich experience, but only accessible afterwards.